Everyone, and welcome to today's Women's Speakers Association Speaker Chat. And today we have a wonderful guest, a WSA Premier member, Nicole Lewis-Keeber. And, just a second here. So just if you don't know who I am, I'm Tracey Ehman. I'm part of the WSA executive and leadership team. And I also have Deb Coman joining me. And Deb is, she's got her fingers all over Facebook for Women Speakers Association, which is awesome. So collectively we work together to do, to support our members, because we love being able to help you get your message out into the world, answer your questions, and learn from you, because we can learn so much from our members. So welcome, everybody.
I'm scooching in a little bit. There we go.
There,
Hi.
perfect.
Hi.
Hi. So thank you so much for joining us. And we want everybody in the meantime to just go ahead and maybe let us know where you're located, because it's always cool to kind of go back and see, because we are a global community, and it's awesome to see when we got people from all over the world joining us. Now, you may come back afterwards. If you're watching this on a replay, still put it in there. It's important for us to know who you are and what you're up to. So, all right. So Nicole, I am going to introduce you. So Nicole is a money mindset master with a background in therapy and life coaching. Using a conversational, engaging, humor-infused approach to complex challenges, Nicole's talks and coaching programs guide business owners, coaches, and healers to reveal and release their underlying blocks and barriers to financial abundance, which is what we all want, so that they can master their mindset, heal their heart, and empower their future, and make some damn money, as Nicole likes to say. So Nicole lives in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, with her husband Jason and 3 fat happy cats. It's well known that Nicole loves 80s music. I'm with you, Nicole. A good martini and heartfelt snark filled with conversations with friends. So wonderful. This is great to have you on here. You're all about relationships and finding, we're talking about that today. That's actually the title of our talk, is not only you need to have relationships just, with the people around you, but you need to have a healthy relationship with your business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a very important relationship, right? If we're going to have a business, why wouldn't we want to have a healthy relationship with it?
Yes, it's so important. And you know what? I think until you and I started talking, I hadn't really thought about it. And today you're going to share some information that's going to help us kind of maybe reposition our thought processes so that we have a good relationship. So we're going to start out with question 1. What is the knowledge that you're in a relationship with your business so important? Like, why is that important?
It's important because, as you said, a lot of people don't look at it that way. And so that clarity of understanding, hey, from the moment of concept, our business becomes a relationship with us. And when we have that knowledge is power to be able to create the relationship we want, to set that intention about how we want to be in a relationship with this business. Because if we don't, then what tends to happen is we default into a relationship we didn't intend to have with our business. So we're in a relationship whether we know it or not. So why not set an intentional one and have some ownership and create that? So I think it's a very important idea around what it means to be in business, whether you're a solopreneur or have a brick and mortar, whatever that may be for you. That business is now a partnership with you, and having that knowledge is huge for that intention.
Yeah, I like I said, I hadn't really thought about it, but you're right. It can control every single part of your life, and you need to probably put some boundaries in place, and you may be touching on that as well. So, in fact, how did you realize? Most of us, when we're doing whatever we end up doing as far as getting our message out into the world and how we support others, it's usually because we've had some kind of an experience where we went, oh wait, I need to relook at things, right? Look at things in a different way. So how did you realize that you had an unhealthy relationship with your business?
Yeah, we teach you what we know, right? So My background, as you mentioned earlier, is in therapy. And so I was a therapist for 18 years before I transitioned into doing coaching around money and mindset and, really helping entrepreneurs identify where their blocks and barriers are to having a business that's successful and sustainable. Well, about a year in, and Deb will remember this actually, but a year into my business or so, um, I I'll give you the story. It was a cold, dark morning. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I've woken up to my day and I already felt like a failure. I had done nothing that day yet. I already felt failed and sad and just, it felt like too much. And so that morning, just to give you the quick and dirty, I decided to read an inspirational book just because I needed something to kind of make my mood lift or feel like I had done something good for myself that morning because I was not feeling very good about myself. And I read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And in that book, there's a story about a environmental science professor, I suppose. I'm not getting it specifically, but where this person was talking to their incoming freshman class about, do they love nature? And she said, raise your hand if you love nature. Of course, they all raised their hand. And then she said, raise your hand if you feel like nature loves you in return. And they all kept their hands down. And she said, you need to think about why you're about to invest 4 years of your life and your money and time into studying something that you don't believe loves you back. And in that moment, I had this light bulb of, I love my business, but I don't feel like my business loves me back. I felt actually kind of beat up by my business in that morning. And so what I had to look at is, okay, so if I'm feeling this way, why do I feel this way? And what I can begin to, all the little dominoes begin to fall into place. And I said, I am in a relationship with my business. And that is why I'm feeling beat up by it, because I have given power over to it. Mm. And this is a familiar feeling. I have felt beat up by mean bosses. And so what I had done is I had recreated those unhealthy patterns around relationships in my business. So that is the aha that I had that morning. And so I quickly started shifting and figuring out ways to fix that in my business and started to help other people with that as well.
That's wonderful. And for those of you that are listening right now, like, how many of you feel beat up by your business? I have a feeling there's going to be a lot. Yeah, Deb's raising her hand, and I know that I feel the same way. There's days where, you would rather just stay in bed. I mean, we all go through that, but it's, you're going to share tips on how we can sort of, basically open our eyes and feel wonderful about the day ahead and the promise, and not let that negativity sort of draw us into that black hole, really. So Deb, actually, I'm going to move over to you for just a sec. Do you want to just touch on our Facebook page and see who's there and who's shouting out? And hey, if anybody has felt like, they are battling their business, right? They're getting beaten up by their business, please let us know.
Yes, I'd love to. Thanks, Tracey. I have been looking in on Facebook. So those of you who are here with us, we are broadcasting from our Facebook business page of Women Speakers Association. We're also simultaneously in both of our groups. So our free associate member and premier member group, and then our paid premier member group. So if you're watching in one of the groups and want to make sure we see your comment, hop on over to the place where it says live video in the post, and it will bring you to our page. Sometimes the comments come through in the groups and sometimes they don't, but we'd love to hear your answers to if you have felt like you were in a relationship with your business that needs a little work. And I see a bunch of people tuning in. We have Sherry, Cassandra, Mecca, and Patrice. So thank you so much. And thanks to those of you who have shared the broadcast. You can share it from the page and not from the group. So another reason to go to that link. And I'll check back in on the answers. I know I can speak from my own experience that Nicole's a dear friend, and she's also helped me a lot with my mindset around my business and my money related to my business. And I always felt like, oh yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying, but I'm not really sure what it means for me. But the more I was exposed to your message, Nicole, as a speaker, I realized the little day-to-day kinds of things, and you helped me a lot with the idea of like thinking we have to be a certain way as a business owner because we think that's what everyone else is doing, and kind of having negative messages to ourselves if we're not doing it that way. And I know you're going to talk a lot more about solutions and strategies, and it's really helped me to have some of those mindset shifts that, I created this and I can talk and think about it differently. So I'm really excited for people to hear about some of those things and get some good workable strategies that they can put into place.
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about, right? When we realize that we created this, that we have the power to shift it and change it. And that's what's so important about this.
And it really is mindset, right? It is how we process the information coming to us, how we set up our day, our life, our goals, and just, Deb and I were talking earlier too about how much you've helped her. So it's nice to be able to have Deb's feedback here today too. So thank you for that.
Yeah, love it. I know when Tracey and I were talking, I was telling her some of the things for me was just where I was working, where I was working in my home, and it wasn't a desk, or it wasn't the real desk to house all my work things. And I was kind of nomadic in my approach. And what kind of message was that sending to myself and that type of thing? And the other was when I start my work day, I still have kids at home. So my day might not look like everyone else's. And I had a lot of negative messages about I'm not doing it the way other people are, setting alarms for 5 o'clock and jumping right in. And I don't know, maybe you can share, Nicole, a little bit about the things that you helped me reshape around that might help some of our listeners today.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, but we can do that. And what it boils down to is we come up with this imaginary they that who we think is telling us how we should run our business and what we should do. And that morning, that 5 o'clock morning, I was in the cusp of feeling like I had let them down, whoever that was, when in reality it was me setting up this dynamic. So, one of the really easy ways to kind of start to pull this apart is to look at how have you become your own mean boss, And so 2 ways to do that is to maybe write down 2 or 3 characteristics of a mean boss that you've had. And most people have had it. People really like to talk about mean bosses that they've had. So maybe 3 or 5 characteristics of that mean boss that didn't work for you, how you felt, how they were communicating with you. And then write down 3 or 5 characteristics of a really great boss you had. Nice boss that was just made you feel good. You look forward to going to work. And look at those characteristics and then ask yourself honestly, where am I here? What kind of boss am I to myself? Because when it comes down to it, the most important employee we will ever have is ourselves within our business. So what kind of boss am I to myself? And start there, because it makes it very easy for you to start to see, where am I not being kind to myself? Like Deb said, as far as like where she was working, there's a lot of things that we will accept from ourselves in our business that we would never accept from an employer, ever. And that's a good place to start. Deb, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, it helped me tremendously. So, again, like it seems like the first step is often awareness. And then what are we going to do about that? So, okay, now I recognize some things. Now what? Am I just going to keep doing the same old? And I know you talk a lot about some of these in terms of like blind spots and blocks and things like that. And as we recognize those and do that exercise you just talked about that I absolutely love, what can we do when we uncover them? So now that we've gotten that awareness, what can you suggest to us that we might want to do next?
Well, first of all, we forgive ourselves. So we do this with no judgment. It's not uncommon when I give this talk for people to go over blank, because immediately they start thinking about, oh, how am I being a mean boss to myself? Oh my God, I am being a mean boss to myself. And so clarity is key. Being non-judgmental to yourself and forgiving yourself in that moment is huge. And then looking at where are the areas that I might be able to put some structure in place to help me be kinder to myself and just to kind of relate to my business in a different way. And I won't take you through all the love letter stuff that I do with my clients, which is kind of fun as far as, identifying who your business is and writing a love letter. But there are some very structural things that are very specific that you can do to create an intentional relationship with your business so that you get the sense that your business has your back. And a very first place to start is to identify what is your mission and your vision for your business. What is this thing that we're going to do in the world together? What is my mission? What's the vision of what that looks like? That's a really good place to start by writing that down, because what it does is it gives you a path to follow. And it's almost like you and your business have kind of worked this out and you're in a partnership in it. So when any daily tasks comes up or someone needs something of you, you can say, does this align with my mission and vision for my business? This business that me and my bestie business have decided, is this in alignment with that? So that's a very great place to start. It's just with your vision and your mission. A second place is to look at to make a decision about how you're going to work with clients, or, how you're going to set up your space. Like Deb, you've got a desk, rather than being in the kitchen of a corner table, the kitchen table, allowing yourself space. Again, you and your business are creating this intentional relationship of, this is our mission and vision. Where am I going to do my work? How am I going to do it? What clients do I? It's just having all this ironed out ahead of time really allows for that ease and not defaulting into patterns of, for the lack of a better word, dysfunction or unhealthiness, where we're bouncing around and we're constantly making these decisions every day, and then we feel beat up because there's no stability. So those are just two things to start off with.
I love that. Thanks so much. And hi to Donna, who's tuned in on our Facebook business page too, and those of you who've tuned in since. And we're here talking with Nicole Lewis-Keeber, one of our wonderful premier members, about our relationship with our business. And Nicole, those things have helped me, and to move beyond just the thinking and awareness to actually doing something about it. And one of the things I love about what you just shared is the idea of partnering with our business. For those of us who are solopreneurs, that's really kind of comforting to feel like we're a force, that our business is kind of supporting us and we're supporting our business. And can you talk about, in addition to feeling better about things, how does it impact, or does it impact our business, like our bottom line or what we're doing, or, what are other reasons other than feeling better that we might want to take a look at our relationship with our business?
Absolutely. I mean, well, me, and I, because of my therapy background, I look at things in relationships. So your relationship with your money is improved when you have that, because again, you're looking at it in a different way. You're taking ownership and you're partnering with it to create something, rather than kind of being mindless and letting whatever happens happen. So earning more money is a byproduct of having a good relationship with your business. Creating ways that you work with people that feel good to you and that actually have that outcome you're looking for as far as happy clients. That also works. Only working on the things that are in alignment with who you are, what you've already decided for your business, gives you more time for things. And it lets you off the hook from having to constantly make decisions every day in every instance about what you're going to do. An example for this would be, as business owners, people are constantly asking us to donate our time, to donate resources to this charity, that charity. And if you go ahead and decide these are two organizations that me and my business are going to support, then when someone asks you for your time or your money, you can say, thank you so much for asking me, but I already support these two organizations. Done. You don't have to ruminate on it. You don't have to decide every time. You don't have to have that angst. And so, and it sends a very clear message to the people around you, who you are, what you're doing, what your boundaries are. And it just frees up some time and energy for you as well.
That's perfect. You were talking, and I think that Deb brought it up before too, we're talking about blocks and blind spots and how they help us identify whether our relationship with our business is unhealthy. Can you share maybe a couple of those with us on, what we maybe should be looking for that, we probably are looking at in the face right now, but don't realize that we are. So.
Right. So there's several, and you might not know that you have an unhealthy relationship with your business. So how do you figure that out? Because everyone's not going to have this moment of clarity with Elizabeth Gilbert at 5 o'clock in the morning like I did, right? So, so what you can do is you're going to start to look at, am I feeling, what are the areas in my business I feel out of control in? That's a really good place to start. Where am I feeling out of control? What does that look like as far as like what's happening with my money? Employees are another place. If you have employees, or even if you have people who are contract workers for you, how does that relationship work? Am I feeling like I'm giving more than I'm getting? Solopreneurs are notorious for hiring staff or contractors and then not letting them do their job, because someone will say to them, you can't do all the things, you need to hire someone. And so they do, but they keep the power and don't let them do their job. So if you have people you're paying to do something and you still feel like you're doing all the things and not feeling supported by them, that's a really good indicator that there might be an imbalance there that you need to look at. Those are just a few to start off with.
So basically micromanaging, when the whole idea of having somebody either as a contractor or employee is to help you spend the time on what you love to do and where your brilliance is, right?
Yeah, that's a big one. And just feeling alone, like if you have people who are supposed to be supporting you and you don't feel supported, and feeling alone in that, and that you're scraping and scrounging for every single dollar, with no trust or faith in the systems that you have in place or your own brilliance and being able to create that income, that's also a place that you might not be feeling as supported or partnered up with your business as you could be.
Yeah, having that partnership, even if it is with your business versus somebody else maybe working the business with you, just having, like Deb was saying before, just that whole thought process of thinking of it as that relationship and that partnership, and you almost keep yourself accountable and your business accountable at the same time, and you can set expectations, but as you mentioned, be kind to yourself. This is your business and you can make it do pretty much whatever you want it to do. You just have to open yourself up to allow that to happen.
Absolutely. And I hear so many entrepreneurs say, this is my baby, my business is my baby. That's not empowered thinking, in my opinion, because my baby can't take care of me. My baby's cute and I love it, but it's not going to take care of me or partner with me in building the things I need to build. So I don't want a baby in my business. I want a partner. I want someone who, I want to feel supported and know that the systems I put in place, everything I'm doing is in support of me, not me in support of only it. And, that's more taking than giving. There's an imbalance there.
I love that thought. And it's so, how empowering thoughts lead us to choose maybe more empowering words and lead us to more intentional, empowering action. And speaking of words, how have you felt as a speaker that looking at your business or your speaking business this way, what kind of impact or changes kind of come to light when you apply this to being a speaker? Did you notice a difference for yourself or with your clients around that?
I did. I feel like that one came a little bit later, because I had to figure out, okay, so if I'm in this relationship and I've defaulted to unhealthy patterns of behavior, how do I disrupt these patterns? And so I figured out how to do that. And the speaking piece of it, I feel like came a little bit later in that, only accepting opportunities that work for me and are alignment. Very recently, these decisions are coming to bear. And that, does this work for me? Does this feel right? Is this where I want to be? Is this in front of the right people? Or am I doing it because of the they, right? So it comes down to that they. Who is this they? I mean, this is my business and my decision. So I think when it comes down to speaking, for me, that's the newest territory where I'm implementing this ownership piece, this empowered piece of not succumbing to the they, because as speakers, we're excited. We want to get in front of everybody and we want to talk, and maybe we might dismiss our boundaries or our value just to get in front of people and to have that experience. And so for me, this has been that kind of last area to really implement those things in.
I love that. And I imagine that that has a lot of meaning and implications for our membership, which is a combination of newer emerging speakers and very well-established speakers who have been professionally speaking for a long time. But I would think that that same issue probably shows up in both of those members,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you've really given us some great ways to look at it. And I think to just see the possibilities if we choose to do a little work around this area. So thank you for that.
And it's like checking in with yourself, right? Checking in with your business. And you're right. You, as a speaker, you do not have to take every opportunity that comes your way. If it doesn't feel, check in, see, does it feel right? Is it aligned, like you mentioned before, with your mission and your vision? Because that's so important. And a lot of people maybe don't have their mission and vision all sort of hammered out yet. But even with what you currently have, like would you say like to get a couple of sentences down on paper and just keep working on it till it feels right?
Yeah, and I totally believe in this is so true and very recently true that when you say no to something that's not in alignment, something that is comes and takes its place, right? So that's almost inevitable. I have found within business and with speaking and around money and mindset stuff is, when we when we take a client or we discount ourselves, what we've done is we've taken up space from that authentic and real opportunity to work with someone that is in alignment and right for us. So I think that is huge. And this is just my own little take on this. I have a picture of my business above my computer. Not everyone does this, but I have clearly identified who he is and how we support each other. And it's so weird to say, but whenever something comes across my desk and I'm kind of iffy about it, I can look up and go, would you want me to do this? And if the answer is no, then no. So I really feel like that mission and vision is like such an anchor, even if it's just one sentence of this is who I am or this is what I do. And if that speaking gig or if that opportunity doesn't align with that, just give yourself permission to say no.
No. I love that. So we know that we want to have a good relationship with our business, but why do we create unhealthy dynamics in our business?
Mindlessness at default. We think we know what it means to have a business or to be a speaker or to do any of those things. And so what we do is we take other people's ideas about what that looks like, and then we live up to them rather than creating our own picture of that, our own intention. And so one of the things I learned early as a therapist is we don't not make decisions. When we don't make a decision, we've made a decision not to make a decision. So, and typically what that is we default into patterns of behavior that we learned growing up. So what happens is if we don't make that intentional decision and create that partnership, we will default into something that is not to our highest good and to the benefit of us and our business. So you're gonna default if you don't make an intentional decision.
So I wonder how many of our listeners out there have made a decision because they did not make a decision. It's so true, right? It's kind of goes back to talking to the kids and saying if you don't ask the question, it's always no. You will not know the answer unless you go ahead and try to move forward. And there's so many ahas. We'd love for you guys all to share your ahas in the comments below, even if you're not on with us live. But we'd love to see that. And I know that Nicole will go back and check out some of the questions or comments or so forth. So please go ahead and share with us. Deb, do you have anything you want to elaborate, share?
Just a quick hello and thanks for tuning in. We also have Rhonda and Janelle, I see, have been tuning in to us, I think, on the page. So thank you to those who are taking time to be here. And if it's not a great time for you to watch all the way through, like Tracey's saying, please do come back and share it later when you're watching. I mean, if you feel this is a message that other people, outside our organization can benefit from. That's why we broadcast from our page, so that it's shareable and you can help spread the word to people who can benefit from learning about this relationship with their business. And I just wanted to ask Nicole, I know that when you've talked about how we can identify some of these blocks and blind spots and some exercises like the mean boss, nice boss, can you say a little bit more about one of the other exercises, either the love letter or something that maybe our people tuning in can try for themselves?
Sure. This used to be my go-to exercise, and then it's really kind of a fun thing to do, but it really does ground you. And so I don't always bring it to the table because it's a little whimsical. But so what I have my clients do is I have them think about what characteristics what they like in a good partner. What does it mean to be a good partner? And they write those characteristics down. And they can think about it as, if I had a partner in life, what are the things that I would want from them to feel supported and secure? And so they write those things down. And what they do is they end up kind of creating an idea or an entity around their business. For some people, it is, a unicorn. For some people, it is Fabio. For some people, it is, like for me, it's the Muppet from the Christmas Carol, the Ghost of Christmas Present, because he really represents what I want for my business: fun, mindfulness, being able to see the future and the past, but really staying in the present in a fun and mindful way. So kind of he's my guy. So, so what we do is we create this kind of personality around that business so it's easier to relate to in that partnership. And then what I have them do is I have them write a love letter to their business where they're saying, or it can be a commitment or a vow that you're making. This is what we're going to create in the world. This is my promise to you. And this is what we're going, it's kind of like any component of what a love letter would be to your partner or a bestie or whatever that might be. They write that letter. And it's kind of almost like they're pledging something. And then I have them write a love letter back to themselves from their business, where their business is telling them, these are my vows, these are the things I will support you in. And so what you're doing is you're anchoring that commitment and really kind of getting in that idea of partnership. And it is very whimsical to write a love letter to your business, but people love this. They just love that idea. And I did a talk in front of a group of IT guys on this topic. And they said, Nicole, I get what you're saying, but I can't quite grasp the whole love letter thing, the romantic piece of it that you're spinning. And so I said, do you have a best friend, like a ride or die buddy? And they're like, oh yeah. And I said, write the letter to him in that way. Like, this is my commitment to our relationship. I will be here for you if you call me at 2:00 in the morning, whatever, whatever those commitments are and those vows, you're writing them down. And so that's where that mission and vision comes from. This is what we are doing together in the world, in this business, so that we can, again, when people need something of us or they're asking for something or we want to beat ourselves up, we can come back to that mission and vision, that partnership, and say, is this in service of that? And if not, then maybe let it go.
And I love that, whimsical or not, that it really does kind of push us to put language around these things that we're thinking and feeling anyway. So I feel like it really gives us something, like you said, to look at or to actually take action on sometimes when it's just on paper, if nothing else. And it sounds like some of the solutions are then to create a mission, create a vision, and some of those things. What other things might we see or experience to know that we're shifting to a more positive relationship? Are there other things we should be looking for?
Right. Well, just a note on that, it's not uncommon for someone to come back and say, Nicole, I think I just wrote a Dear John letter to my business. And so what this does is it really helps you hone in where you're at and where you should be. And sometimes that is letting go of what you're currently doing to make space for something new. So I just wanted to add that in. That having a healthy relationship sometimes means letting it go for the benefit of all, and doing something else. So that is that piece of it. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot the question because I want to make sure I said that.
No, I'm glad that you did, because no, that's just as important and some intentional versus just doing what we've been doing all along. So I imagine as speakers, it might even relate to speaking on different topics or shifting the way we deliver our message or something like that. But what you were sharing in addition was the other things to kind of look for that let us know maybe we're on a better path, maybe our relationship is becoming more healthy with our business. What other things might we see?
Right. So you're making more money probably, and you're making it in a way that feels good to you, in that maybe you're not doing money per hour. Maybe you're working half as much, but still making the same amount because you changed the way you do business. So what it does is it frees you up to really ask that question: how do I want to do this? Forget the they. What do I want, and what does that look like? And so the byproduct is more money, ease in your business, more clients, more opportunities that come your way, a lot of security at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day, or the end of the day, where you really feel that what you set out to do got done because you were very clear about your boundaries. You're going to have less angst about those boundaries when it comes to employees or pricing or family. Even, our family members, I see this all the time where it's like, they're like, yes, you're going to start a business, good for you, but don't inconvenience me at all, And so it's really about setting up those boundaries where it's very clear to everybody what it means that we have now, started this business, and what the components of that are, what that looks like. That very clear communication around that is very important. So there's going to be less, I think, conflict.
I love that. And I know I kind of experienced this today, and Nicole and I were actually messaging each other. And because we've worked together and also close friends, she said, now, in the past, this is a thing you might beat yourself up for. So look out. I just want you to know I'm here for you. And it was such a great aha for me, because I was like, wow, I wasn't really feeling like beating myself up. I'm definitely in a different place, although the actions were similar to what happened before, but I had somehow maybe evolved a teeny little bit to become a little more detached from the outcome. And that was so powerful to me. It was such a little thing, and I probably would have missed it had you not pointed it out, or had I not known some of the things you're talking and sharing with us today, so that it leads to more celebrations, that just kind of feeds that, not just feeling good, but as you said, making different decisions and taking different steps that really build our speaking business and the business component that goes with it. So I love that this is getting shared with people that follow us and are in our membership, because it's an important piece that can have a really big impact in a lot of different ways. So thanks for all of that. We're seeing a lot of good things in Facebook too. So thank you to people who are commenting. People are pulling some tidbits out and sharing them. Patrice Dunkley shared it for us too. So thank you for making the broadcast be out there to other people who need to hear this as well.
Yes, once again, so many aha moments. And, when you're talking about that, writing the love letter before too, I can see where it's like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, but there's so much power in getting it written down on paper, not necessarily, typed on your computer, but actually sitting down with pen or pencil in hand and writing it on a piece of paper. It's, it sounds like that is so helpful in getting that clarity, because because we're entrepreneurs, we want to be all things to all people, and we want to support everyone, and we can't, because we're going to start to shrink and shrivel, or something's going to happen, and then we're not supporting anybody. So I love the tidbits that you've shared with us today. And one of the things we'd love to know is, how can we learn more about you? Is there somewhere we can go? And I know that you're going to share that with us, and maybe Deb, you can type that into the comments as well for us.
Thank you. Well, one of the things that I have really been studying within working with my clients, and just the concept is how we recreate relationships in our business in particular, that, I'm particularly looking at the impact of maybe challenging relationships we've had and how we bring them forward into our business. And so I've been writing a lot about that on Medium. So you can follow me on Medium if you want to read more about the things that I'm writing about around this relationship with your business and how it can come across, how it can come out in many forms, and what to look for. So that's a really good place to follow me. Also, my website, Nicole.Lewis-Keeber.com, is a great place to find me and to, if there's a contact form, contact Nicole if you have a question or if you wanted to chat with me. And I'm on Facebook too. I mean, who's not on Facebook, right? Nicole Lewis-Keeber Coaching. I hang out there a lot as well.
Yes, you're very easily accessible there. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on Speaker Chat today. And like you said, the stars aligned. I'm so glad that you were able to jump in sort of last minute for us. But I've been wanting to have you as a guest for a long time, so it was meant to be. And so thrilled once again. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you, Deb, too.
You're welcome. This is a great topic, and I know that it's really important to the people who are speakers. So I'm really excited that you could be with us today to share it.
Thanks.
Wonderful. Okay, everybody have a great rest of your day and join us on January, I believe it's January 3rd for our next Speaker Chat. But please, go ahead and share the recording of this. We would love to help as many people as possible. And there's so many aha moments that Nicole shared with us today that it's just really important. So thanks again.
Thank you.